Every day, your brain is working behind the scenes, using subtle psychological tricks that shape the way you see the world. These tricks influence your thoughts, feelings, and even your decisions, often without you realizing it. Today, we'll explore three fascinating ways your mind operates, revealing just how powerful and mysterious your brain truly is. From noticing negativity to filling in missing details, these mental shortcuts are part of your daily life. Let's dive in and discover how your mind works, starting with the first psychological trick. Have you ever noticed that negative comments stick with you longer than positive ones? This isn't just your imagination. It's a phenomenon known as negativity bias. Your brain is wired to pay more attention to negative information, making it more memorable and impactful. This bias can affect your mood, self-esteem, and even your relationships. Understanding negativity bias helps explain why criticism feels so much stronger than praise, and why bad news seems to linger. Next, we'll see how this bias plays out in everyday situations. Think about scrolling through social media or receiving feedback at work. One negative remark can overshadow dozens of positive ones. This is negativity bias in action. It's why we dwell on criticism and sometimes ignore compliments. Our brains evolved to focus on threats and dangers, which helped our ancestors survive. Today, this bias can make us more sensitive to negative experiences, but being aware of it allows us to balance our perspective and appreciate positive moments more fully. Negativity bias is rooted in our evolutionary history. Early humans needed to pay close attention to threats for survival, so our brains became highly attuned to negative stimuli. Modern neuroscience confirms that negative information activates more brain regions than positive information. This explains why negative events feel more intense and why we remember them longer. Recognizing this bias can help us manage our reactions and focus on positivity. Now that we've explored negativity bias, let's move on to the second psychological trick your brain uses every day. This one is all about familiarity and how repeated exposure can change your preferences. Even if something is average or unremarkable, seeing it often can make you like it more. This effect is known as the mere exposure effect, and it's surprisingly powerful. The more often you see something, the more you start liking it. This is called the mere exposure effect. Whether it's a song, a face, or a brand, repeated exposure increases your preference even if the item is just average. Advertisers use this trick all the time, showing you the same logo or message repeatedly. Over time, your brain begins to favor what's familiar, making you feel comfortable and positive toward it. Think about the songs you hear on the radio or the brands you see on billboards. At first, you might not notice them, but after repeated exposure, you start to recognize and even prefer them. This effect also influences your relationships and daily choices. Familiar faces become more appealing and familiar routines feel safer. The mere exposure effect shapes your preferences in subtle ways, often without you realizing it. Psychologists have studied the mere exposure effect for decades. Experiments show that people consistently rate familiar images, words, or sounds as more likable than unfamiliar ones. This effect is linked to the brain's preference for safety and predictability. Familiarity signals comfort, making us feel more at ease. Understanding this trick can help you recognize why you gravitate towards certain choices and how repetition shapes your opinion. You've seen how negativity bias and the mere exposure effect influence your daily life. Now, let's explore the third psychological trick, your brain's ability to fill in missing information automatically. This fascinating process is behind optical illusions and many everyday experiences, showing just how creative and efficient your mind can be. Your brain is constantly working to make sense of the world, even when information is incomplete. It fills in gaps automatically, creating a coherent picture from fragments. This process helps you understand conversations read between the lines and navigate complex situations. It's also the reason optical illusions can trick your mind. Your brain fills in missing details, sometimes leading you to see things that aren't really there. Optical illusions are a perfect example of your brain's automatic information filling. When you look at an illusion, your mind tries to make sense of ambiguous shapes or patterns, often filling in details that aren't actually present. This ability helps you interpret the world quickly, but it can also lead to mistakes. Understanding how your brain fills in gaps can help you appreciate the complexity of perception and the limits of your senses. Beyond optical illusions, your brain's tendency to fill in missing information affects many aspects of daily life. When you hear a muffled conversation, your mind guesses the missing words. When you see a partially obscured object, you recognize it instantly. This mental shortcut speeds up decision-making and helps you function efficiently, but it can also lead to misunderstandings or false assumptions. Neuroscientists have discovered that your brain uses past experiences and context to fill in missing information. This process is called perceptual completion. It's essential for reading, listening, and recognizing familiar objects. While it makes life easier, it also means your perceptions are sometimes shaped by expectations rather than reality. Being aware of this trick can help you question assumptions and see the world more clearly. Let's recap the three psychological tricks your brain uses every day. First, negativity bias makes negative comments stand out. Second, the mere exposure effect increases your liking for familiar things. Third, your brain fills in missing information automatically, shaping your perceptions. These mental shortcuts help you navigate life, but they also influence your feelings and choices in ways you might not notice. Understanding these psychological tricks is important because they affect your relationships, decisions, and self-image. By recognizing negativity bias, you can focus more on positive feedback. By noticing the mere exposure effect, you can make more conscious choices. And by being aware of automatic information filling, you can question assumptions and avoid misunderstandings. Awareness is the first step toward using your mind's power wisely. You can use these tricks to your advantage. For example, focus on positive moments to counter negativity bias. Surround yourself with things you want to like using the mere exposure effect, and check your assumptions when information is missing to avoid errors. These strategies help you harness your mind's power for personal growth and better decision-making. Your mind is more powerful than you think. These psychological tricks are just a few examples of how your brain shapes your reality every day. By understanding and applying them, you can improve your outlook, strengthen relationships, and make wiser choices. Remember, your thoughts and perceptions are influenced by invisible forces. Knowing about them gives you an edge. Awareness of these tricks is the foundation for personal growth. When you notice negativity bias, you can choose to focus on positive feedback. When you recognize the mere exposure effect, you can be intentional about what you expose yourself to. And when you understand automatic information filling, you can question assumptions and seek clarity. Growth starts with understanding your mind. Sum up: your brain uses negativity bias, the mere exposure effect, and automatic information filling every day. These tricks help you process information quickly, but they also shape your feelings and decisions. By understanding these concepts, you can take control of your mind's power and use it to improve your life. Remember, knowledge is the key to unlocking your potential. Here are some practical takeaways. Focus on positive feedback to balance negativity bias. Use repetition to build preferences with the mere exposure effect. And always check your assumptions when information is missing. These simple strategies can help you make better decisions, improve your relationships, and boost your confidence. Your mind is a powerful tool. Use it wisely. Conclusion: your mind is full of hidden powers and psychological tricks that guide your daily life. By understanding negativity bias, the mere exposure effect, and automatic information filling, you gain insight into how your brain works. This knowledge empowers you to make conscious choices and grow as a person. Remember, your mind is more powerful than you think. Embrace its strengths and use them to your advantage every day. Subscribe for more mind-blowing facts.